Konnichiwa. Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be reacting to a video from a guy I heard about in the 2019, 2020. I read about him, or I actually listened to the Audible. I heard about him from a book called Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. It was a really good book. Just instead of just focusing on investing and trading and everything like that, he was just talking about giving back to the community and helping people with the money, and just dying with zero, not having any money when you leave, or at least allocating it to something of a better cause. So the guy's name is John Arnold. He's a natural gas trader. So let's just get into it. So let's see what happens with the video. So bada boom, bada bang.
Hey traders, Mike Sir here. In my last trader profile video, I profiled a Canadian natural gas trader who lost over $6 billion of his hedge fund's money and led to its collapse.
Yo, that's crazy. That's a lot of money, man. I've read up on that guy. If you guys want me to react to the video he did with that, just let me know in the comments. And just let me know.
I've gotten lots of great feedback from all of you, and you guys wanted to ask me more about how to trade natural gas. Well, who better to learn how to trade natural gas than from a billionaire trader? So in this video, I'm going to profile a very successful natural gas trader who didn't go bust like Brian Hunter, and who would eventually retire as a trader with a net worth of over $3 billion. His name is John Arnold. So let's get started. John Arnold is an American hedge fund manager at one of the most successful energy-focused funds in the world. In his university days, John had a natural aptitude for numbers and complex calculations. His professors remember him as an economics whiz kid who was able to not only understand concepts instantly, but also to do complex math in his head. Upon graduation...
Now, even though all that stuff is cool, and I have met some geniuses trading, it's not necessary to be a genius to be profitable as a trader, or know super complex economics or any of that stuff. It's definitely an edge, but it's not necessary.
He started his trading career at Enron, an energy powerhouse company which was once ranked as the 5th largest company in the US. Now, John started off as an oil analyst there and climbed the ranks quickly within the company. After a year of joining the company at 22 years old, he was overseeing Enron's Texas natural gas trading desk, one of the company's core businesses.
Oh, and just to kind of give some context, natural gas is a commodity. So a lot of people deal with it in the futures market, but there are other ways you can trade it as well, like through like equities or businesses that either deal with or trade or store or transport natural gas. So yeah.
John's specialty at Enron was to look for opportunities to capitalize on arbitrage opportunities by buying natural gas contracts in one region at low prices and then selling them in another region where prices were higher. Now, the reason he could do this...
So it sounds like he was dealing with something with futures, and I'll make a whole nother video about like commodities and futures and how to use them. But you can do a lot of different things like calendar spreads with futures and all types of interesting stuff. But basically, it's just kind of a way for businesses or farmers dealing with other products other than natural gas for a way to hedge, or even sometimes businesses that aren't even necessarily producing the commodity, but maybe like Delta or like a plane company might try and hedge with gas futures to kind of keep the to keep the ticket pricing at a decent level, because otherwise, if you were their ticket pricing would always fluctuate based off the gas prices it costs for them to fuel the planes. Anyways, a whole nother subject, but I kind of just wanted to give you guys a brief description on what futures and all that stuff was
because natural gas prices generally differ between US states. In fact, in the year 2000, US Congress passed the Commodity Futures Modernization Act, which allowed contracts tied to commodities to be exchanged in vast quantities, sparking a boom in electronic natural gas trading. Now, with John's knowledge of the industry, along with the ability to transact in huge quantities, it was a match made in heaven for John. And it seemed like a lot of the top natural gas traders in the world had a big appetite for risk, and John was no different. Now, despite his quiet demeanor, he traded like a man with a hungry appetite. At Enron, on some days he would trade more than $1 billion worth of gas contracts and not break a sweat. In the year 2001, even as Enron was collapsing amid an accounting scandal that covered up billions in debt, it was reported that he had earned $750 million for the company. The guy was a money-making machine despite the turmoil that was facing Enron at the time. As a result, John earned an $8 million bonus just days before Enron filed for bankruptcy. After Enron, John would start his own hedge fund a year later with his bonus money called Centaurus Advisors, and bring along a small group of former Enron traders with him. Now, he didn't know whether he could replicate the same success he had at Enron, because Enron was a pipeline company and John had a direct source of what factors were driving gas prices. Without that insight, he would have to rely on public data and make trades based purely on that. However, it was in 2006 when John and his hedge fund had a huge breakthrough. They took the opposite side of a risky bet that another hedge fund called Amaranth and its top natural gas trader, Brian Hunter, had made on natural gas prices going up. I profiled Brian Hunter and his massive $6 billion loss in my past videos, and which you can check out at the end of this video. Now, John and his team did incredibly well on that trade, as sources say that he made over $1 billion in profits, and by the end of the year, his fund reportedly generated a 317% return overall. Due to his trading success, in 2007, John became the youngest billionaire in the US. Also, as the commodities bubble burst in 2008, John foresaw the looming collapse in natural gas prices, and once again it was reported that he had nearly doubled his money. By 2009, Centaurus grew his team to over 70 employees and was managing over $5 billion with the majority of John's net worth in the fund. It was reported that in the company's first 7 years, the fund never returned less than 50%, an amazing performance given the poor overall performance in the industry. Many of his peers described John as having the brain of an economist, the experience of a veteran gas man, and the iron stomach of a big-time gambler. But what John has clearly demonstrated is his ability to extract big-time profits from catastrophic circumstances in an unbelievably volatile natural gas market. Before I share the details of John's trading strategy, please take a moment to like this video. I would really appreciate your support. Okay, now most natural gas...
Oh yeah, and then I'll put the original video down in the description, because this guy has some really good videos. I'm not certain if he's like teaching anybody trading or anything like that, but his little documentaries are pretty cool. I've watched a couple of them before, which is actually why I'm reacting to this video today. But yeah, man, check out the full video, check out his channel. Pretty cool guy.
Futures traders would buy and sell natural gas futures contracts, which were considered the physical kind, meaning that they would enter into a contract to buy or sell natural gas on a given day. The other kind is referred to as virtual ones, in which no natural gas changes hands and are known as swaps. Now, this is a scenario where a natural gas producer wants assurances that prices don't go below a certain price level, and thus making their production unprofitable. So what they do is engage with a hedge fund like John's fund that will pay them an agreed amount if prices fall. But if prices went up, the natural gas producer has to pay John. One common example of this type of trade for John and his team was in 2005, in the months leading up to hurricane season. Now, Centaurus entered into a contract with producer British Petroleum, or referred to as BP. Now, BP, which sells gas that travels through ports in Louisiana, was worried that prices might decline. However, Centaurus's meteorologists anticipated an intense hurricane season, which would probably drive up gas prices. So Centaurus agreed to pay.
That's something I think is really interesting. Like a lot of traders, even myself for a long period of time, you normally kind of just want to look at a chart, but then it's like when you start to add in like data to your analysis or like fundamentals, I mean, it can really change your trading and like your conviction on a trade to where you don't mind betting some decent, some decent bet sizes or some decent allocation of capital towards that investment idea. So like a lot of the times, I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about going all in on Bitcoin or like one specific coin, which is something I never would personally do. I do think that cryptocurrency is something to allocate towards, but their conviction on that investment is heavy. So normally when I hear people say that, I'm like, this guy has either done some crazy research and they know what they're doing, or they're dumb. Like they're just going with like the crowd. So it's always interesting when I hear people talk about like they've done like their homework in the data, but then when you hear people that just say, hey, I'm just doing it because of this, it's usually a red sign. And I know some really great traders and investors that have done that, but at the time, man, I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? But anyways, let's get back to the video.
BP if prices fell, and BP would pay Centaurus if prices rose. Well, when hurricanes Katrina and Rita devastated the Gulf Coast, gas prices skyrocketed, and Centaurus took home $3 million in profits on that contract alone.
So that's pretty interesting as well. Like a lot of people talk about all types of things from a chart perspective, but then everything is pretty much reliant on supply and demand. And as you can see, it wasn't a lot of supply, which caused demand, which calls for the natural gas prices to rise. And we'll go into that in a whole nother video as well, but just want to give you guys a brief description on everything's based off supply and demand with economics, business, everything.
And this is where Brian's fund shines by understanding the fundamentals of the gas market better than anyone else so they can better position themselves for success. His philosophy was very simple. Buy things whenever they're trading below what his analysis shows to be fair value, and sell things whenever his analysis shows that the forward curve is higher than his analysis of fair value. So in my opinion, this is basic fundamentals 101. Now what John does so well is combine his fundamental knowledge of the natural gas market with a willingness to make gigantic bets. Now if you take a look at his fund's trades, John earns the majority of his profits on a small number of enormously huge trades, and typically would really only put on a trade of substance once or twice a year. But when he does, the trades are so big, he makes a fortune each time when he's right. This is an extremely risky strategy, but fortunately he's been right a lot of times. And one of the reasons why he can make these huge bets is the fact that his fund has been closed to new investors since 2005 and has repaid nearly all of his investors. This means that he only trades his and his employees' capital, so there's no restrictions on what he can't do. However, one scary thought of losing your billion-dollar fortune is sure to affect anyone's emotions in trading. But for John, his trading style is focused on the fundamentals of the market, and this in some sense allows him to stay calm and disciplined. And this was very evident in the case of Amaret's collapse, where natural gas prices were imploding. John's analysis indicated that prices were still a long way from fundamental value, and therefore he placed big bets on prices tumbling even further. Then, while other traders were panicking, John would remain patient, wait until the right moment, and then opportunistically relieve others of their money. There's a saying that all good things come to an end, and in 2010, Centaurus had a bit of a setback and experienced its first annual loss. Now, even though the fund bounced back the following year, natural gas prices wouldn't experience the same type of volatile prices that it had experienced before due to tighter regulations on trading and a growing supply of natural gas from shale rock. And it was at this stage in John's life that he decided to walk away from the industry in 2012. He was only 38 years old and closed down his hedge fund with a compound annual return of more than 130%. Afterwards, in an interview, he attributed his success to the following.
Timing was hugely valuable, right? Starting right when I did. I think there was an advantage of being the first hedge fund that was able to get superior economics from investors, which then allowed me to both hire the best people as well as invest the most money into the research side of the business. We've always been a fundamental based shop, counting the molecules, counting demand, counting supply, seeing where they cross, which, where in the future does the market become imbalanced, and then overlaying that with really good trading talent. Because if you just have the fundamentals, or if you just have the trading talent, you don't get much. It's overlaying the two, and I think that was our secret sauce.
Yo, honestly, that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, you can have the best technical analysis, but if the fundamentals are going against you, then you're just going to get hit and hit and hit, and it's not capital efficient. Whereas if you're heavily focused on the fundamentals and you don't understand the technicals, you're not gonna have as precise entry in the market. So you might end up buying at a high or selling at a low, and that spread difference between where you could have gotten a better entry, you're missing out on all that profit. So you really just want to figure out what the fundamentals are first. And this is my opinion. There are other people who are better traders than I am, and they just do technicals or they just do fundamentals. But this is just from my opinion. When you understand where the market could potentially go from the fundamentals first, and then you find a technical reason on a chart to get in, or it might not even be a chart, it might just be price. But if you can find that technical or price reason to get in, and the fundamentals of that investment, it's going to boost your confidence in that trade or in that investment a whole lot more than if you just did the technicals or you just did the fundamentals. And when you combine both, it's just a thing of beauty.
Also, he would often say that he lived and breathed the natural gas markets 24 hours a day. He loved the game, the challenge, but after 17 years in an industry, he lost some of that passion and wanted a new challenge. John had always said that the first phase of his life was 100% trying to make money, and that's now 100% trying to do good. In 2010, John and his wife signed the Giving Pledge, promising to give away at least half of their wealth in the same strategic way that he had made money through trading. Thanks for
something else that's really interesting about him is he ended up getting into venture capital, and I'm pretty sure he's been killing it in venture capital. But anyways, guys, that's the video for today. Yeah, so just let me know if you guys want to see the other natural gas trader who ended up blowing $6.6 billion. Weirdly enough, he did not go to jail. I think he had to pay like a couple $1,000,000, but I think he was making like $100 million a year trading natural gas for that hedge fund. But if you guys want to see me react to that video, or you guys want to see me react to any other trading videos, I just want to try and produce as much content for you guys as possible, because I'm going to Toronto next week, and I'm just going to enjoy the trip. But I'll still be producing some content, maybe like some shorter term videos, but I won't have my computer. I'm just going to really just try and enjoy the trip and relax. So, and just to produce some content, probably on social media and everything. So anyways, if you guys need anything, if there's anything I can help you out with, reach out in the comments, or reach out via Facebook, Instagram, or however you know me, text, anything. So peace. Bye, guys.